Before the Mongols ever rode west, the Khwarazmian Empire stood glittering at the center of Central Asia, stretching from the Sir Darya and Amu Darya corridors across Transoxiana into Iran and Afghanistan and toward northern India. Cities like Bukhara and Samarkand sat astride the silk roads that funneled Chinese silks and Central Asian riches westward. Caravans poured wealth into its markets, scholars filled its institutions, and its rulers dreamed of imperial glory. When Ala ad-Din Muhammad II inherited the throne around 1200, he rode the momentum begun by his father Takesh, expanding his dominion deep into Central Asia. But like a palace built on sand, the empire hid its instability. Governors acted like little kings, nobles plotted behind curtains, and the Shah himself ruled not by unity, but by suspicion. The empire was wide, wealthy, seemingly formidable, but brittle. And on the far horizon, a storm was forming. In 1218, the infamous affair at Otrar crystallized what would become a cosmic showdown. A provincial governor, in Alchuk, killed a Mongol trade caravan, accusing its merchants of espionage. Genghis Khan responded with restraint, sending 3 envoys to Shah Muhammad II to demand justice. The Khwarazmian response shocked the steppe. One ambassador was executed outright. The other 2 were humiliated, their beards shaved and sent back. This was not merely diplomatic insolence. It was an open declaration of war. Genghis Khan did not rush. Outwardly calm, he turned the insult into a sentence of annihilation. What followed was not a punitive raid, but the deliberate preparation for the destruction of an entire state. No medieval army moved like the Mongols. Each warrior rode with multiple horses, switching mounts mid-gallop to maintain speed. Cattle and sheep accompanied the army, turning the Mongol host into a moving city, a mobile ecosystem that could survive anywhere, cross deserts, and cover distances no other army could imagine. The Mongol army was structured with ruthless efficiency. Its decimal organization, Arban, Jagun, Mingan, Tumen, ensured absolute command and control. By some estimates, nearly 10,000 Chinese siege engineers were distributed across the army, a decisive supplement to Mongol mobility. Whole herds traveled with the force, allowing it to live off the land without fixed supply lines. Logistics was the true center of gravity of Mongol warfare. In the spring of 1219, Genghis assembled his forces at a secret staging area east of Lake Balkhash, along the Irtysh River, chosen for its pasture lands and central position. The army gathered there, estimated between 120,000 and 150,000 men, prepared in silence. Mongol spies infiltrated Khwarazm. Muslim defectors from the Karakitai provided political and linguistic intelligence. Merchants carried information across the steppe. Captured guides were compelled to memorize routes, rivers, water sources, and mountain passes. Often the Mongols knew the land better than those who lived in it. Behind the thunder of hooves came something even more deadly: Chinese siege craft. Traction trebuchets, mangonels, siege towers, battering rams, and early incendiaries accompanied the cavalry. For the first time, steppe mobility fused with industrial-scale siege warfare, a combination nothing in Central Asia could withstand. Psychological warfare rode ahead of the army. Refugees were allowed to flee, spreading tales of impossible speed and unimaginable brutality. Cities began to collapse long before the Mongols arrived. Genghis waited months along the frontier. He watched the rivers. He watched the seasons. He waited for winter, when rivers froze hard enough to carry cavalry, when supplies were full, when every regiment was ready. Then he struck. When the Mongols moved in late 1219, they did not advance as a single mass, but as coordinated, converging forces designed to dislocate and encircle. The campaign unfolded across a 1,000-kilometer front. Genghis Khan drove the central thrust into Transoxiana. Jochi and Jebe operated along the western and southern axes. Chagatai and other commanders struck in another place. The Mongols marched divided and attacked united. Separate columns struck independent targets, yet remained bound by a single operational rhythm. To conceal his true intentions, Genghis sent Jochi with 3 Tumen as a diversion toward Fergana, drawing Khwarazmian forces away from the main axis. When the real blow landed, the Shah's defenses collapsed in confusion. The Syr Darya line was breached, fortified towns bypassed, and Mongol armies appeared hundreds of kilometers behind Khwarazmian lines. What Muhammad II had expected to be raids was, in reality, a modern operational campaign. Otrar, the birthplace of the war, resisted for 5 months under relentless bombardment. When it finally fell, its defenders were slaughtered, the city burned, and its governor, the man who had begun the war, executed with molten silver poured into his eyes. Bukhara fell next. The Mongols crossed the desert, a route the Shah believed impassable, and appeared without warning. Within 3 days, the city was taken. Chinese trebuchets smashed the citadel. The city's granaries were seized to feed the Mongol advance. The city was brutally destroyed where Genghis entered the great mosque and declared, "I am the punishment of God." Samarkand followed. Its war elephants panicked under incendiaries and trampled their own ranks. Skilled artisans and engineers were deported east to serve the Mongols. The rest were killed. Herat resisted. Merv resisted. Bamiyan resisted fiercely. When Genghis Khan's grandson died in battle at Bamiyan, the Khan ordered the city wiped out to the last living creature. Urgench was the nightmare. Urban combat raged street by street. Canals were broken, irrigation destroyed. According to chronicles, every Mongol soldier was ordered to execute 24 captives. The city was turned into a graveyard. As his cities burned, Muhammad II fled. Genghis dispatched Jebe and Subadai with 3 Tumen to hunt him across Persia. For 8 months they pursued him relentlessly. Cornered at last, Muhammad II fled to an island in the Caspian Sea, where he died in December 1220, sick, broken, and alone, his empire already dead. After the initial devastation, Mongol operations shifted to consolidation. Genghis rested his main army south of Samarkand and organized control across Transoxiana. Local auxiliaries were recruited, garrisons established. Resistance continued. Gurganj was briefly retaken by Khwarazmian forces before being destroyed again after brutal street fighting in early 1221. By 1223, organized resistance had ended. The Mongol army was not purely Mongol. Chinese engineers, Uyghur scribes, Kara Kitai guides, Persian and Turkic auxiliaries formed a multi-ethnic war machine. Mobility, intelligence, engineering, and terror combined into a system no contemporary state could counter. Terror was policy. Garrison troops were executed, civilians slaughtered or deported. Skilled workers were spared only to serve elsewhere. Irrigation networks were destroyed to prevent recovery. Rumors spread faster than armies, and cities surrendered without resistance. Fear shattered Khwarazm from within. By 1221, the Khwarazmian Empire no longer existed. Its cities were gone, its population broken, its institutions erased. Jalal al-Din would fight on, but the empire died on the banks of the Indus. The fall of Khwarazm opened the gates of the Islamic world. The Mongols would march further still. But that is a story for another video. If you found this story fascinating, subscribe to Warology for more on Genghis Khan's campaigns and the wars that changed the world.